real quick. Sorry, we're just getting used to some new tech here. So how about here? Oh, okay. Hey, guys. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. A couple announcements tonight before we get started. Number one, Moms Group tomorrow. Please join us. If you're a lady out there and you haven't joined us yet for Moms Group, it is something that we do every Wednesday at 11 a.m. It's just a 1 hour. We just kind of have our coffee and tea together on Zoom. It's an opportunity for us to talk about the topic from the night before and also just get to know each other more. So there we go, that's better. Get to know each other more. So please join us. If you haven't yet out there, just know that you're in good hands. Some ladies come every week. Some can just pop in here or there when they get a little time off work or arrange their lunch schedule or whatnot. If you need the Zoom link, just reach out to me or Becky and we'll get it to you. And please join us tomorrow morning at 11. And Becky has a little thing she wants to share.
I do. So if you were on last week, we were talking about Solution Group watch parties. And so many people have been saying that they really miss in person, and I always have too, but I invite people to my house. And so I just wanted to encourage everybody, to invite people over and watch Solution Group together. And if you, if you're in Tacoma area, or you don't mind driving to Tacoma, you're welcome at my house. We got the fire pit going here. Yeah.
That's fun. Oh, oops, you muted yourself.
Oh, was I muted?
Yep, just real quick. You're showing off the fire pit. That looks awesome.
Yeah, I'm showing off my backyard here. So everybody wave.
Hey, everybody.
A little private watch party in the backyard. And so I just want to encourage everyone to do that. And actually, we can help you set that up. So if you'd like to do it and you don't know anyone in your area, we would love to help people kind of get hooked up and do some watch parties. So let me know. Or Angie.
I want to nominate. I want to nominate maybe the Dershes. They've got a really great place there on the lake.
Well, I want to go there.
Up there in Arlington. I'm going to start nominating people. If we don't get some volunteers, I'm just going to start nominating people and reaching out to you. But we're going to have our first watch party in Kent on July 11th. So everybody mark your calendars. I'm going to host at the Kent House. We're going to just invite everybody that is local to Kent to join. I'll be in town, so mark your calendars for Tuesday, July 11th. Also, hopefully all of y'all can come because that's going to be when we begin to kick off our auction. Our auction is our biggest fundraiser of the year. It's a big dinner. It's our premier event of the year. It's October 21st. This will be our 6th annual one. It's going to be at the Muckleshoot Casino, so the first time we're going to be there. So it's going to be our biggest one yet, but we have a lot of work to do to make it so. So we need lots of help. So while I'm in town, we're going to have an auction team meeting. So I'll be reaching out to y'all and talking about it on the Moms Group. And so that day, on Tuesday the 11th, I'm going to have posters and all that kind of stuff for that. So just mark your calendars for a big part of the day so we can spend it together, and then we'll close out the day having our watch party and tuning in to Solution Group. So can't wait. So I think that's all me and Becky have. So let's move on over to the Kent. I introduce Mr. Kyle Munkers. So if you're new out there tonight, let's get him up on the screen first. I am the wrong screen.
Yep.
I am.
Rebuild TV, right?
Okay, there we go. So if you're new tonight, let me introduce you to Mr. Kyle Munkers. He is a manager over there, heading up the Kent House right now, but he also gives us our comedy each, brings us Kyle's Corny Comedy Corner. So take it away, Kyle.
Okay. What do you call a snake that is 3.14 meters long? 3.14 meters. A python.
Oh my gosh.
The other day, I saw a lady ride by me on a bicycle. I shouted, "Cow!" She turned around and flipped me off. Then she hit the cow. Ex-girlfriend of mine dumped me because she didn't like my obsession with wearing a new t-shirt every hour. But I've changed. My dad once gave me a piece of advice. He told me that if I wanted to impress ladies at the swimming pool, all I had to do was put a potato in my shorts. He forgot to mention that he meant the front of the shorts. On that, the other night I had this terrible nightmare that I had diarrhea, but then I woke up. That's when shit got real. My calculator stopped working. Doesn't make sense. You know? It doesn't add up. Thank you. The other day, I saw my neighbor outside. She was talking to her cat like it could understand her. Talking like it could understand her. So I went inside and told my dog. And we laughed all night about it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. For those who don't know, I'm a black belt in a certain martial arts. I'm not going to say what. You know, it's no big deal. But my instructor once told me that the most effective place to kick is in the knee area. I think it's nuts. Last one.
Yes.
Another ex-girlfriend of mine. She told me that I wasn't very good in bed. And I said, well, you know, it's not really fair to make a judgment in less than a minute.
Thank you.
You gotta hear them clapping. Okay, now we'll mute.
Okay, let's just do a quick sound check. We had a couple of difficulties right before coming on, so do a little
How's
check.
the sound, guys?
Give us a thumbs up if you can hear Art okay. Not me, but Art.
We can hear you. There's some background noise, but we can hear you.
Is it the AC?
AC or something in the background. I don't know, but we can hear you.
Really?
Yeah, some kind of.
Just sounds a little staticky is all.
Okay, it's our wire hanging out. So the dogs pulled the wire out.
I think we're good.
Yeah, we're all right.
Okay, great. All right, let's begin.
You've been muted. You're muted. So I'm gonna start out by maybe defining or redefining 3 words that kind of swim around us or float around us and grab out of the air. Try to define what these 3 words I think that everyone's kind of looking for when they come on here and what we're all doing together. And you know, recently the first word that I'm going to talk about is connection, and I want to define it or maybe redefine it for other people. But a long time ago we stated that the word connection, what we meant by it was that the calmest place in me meets the calmest place in you, and that would be if we established a connection. But I think we can take it further, and I'd like to improve upon that definition and say the calmest best parts of me meet the calmest best parts of you. And I think that makes more sense. And I want you to kind of look at your connections and how many of them as a family or with people around you, that's the way that you connect. That the calmest best part of you meets the best part of other people, discusses the best parts of other people, and actually looks at the best parts of other people. And so the second word then is transformation. And the purposes of what I'm going to go to the other one first, and that one is accountability. I think people are coming on here because we've had this difficulty of many families come, not only do they want accountability for their loved one, but they want retribution. kind of a revenge. Sometimes treatment can be a revenge factor. Don't let them have fun down there. Don't let them go swimming and shit. They need to actually be suffering because they put us through hell. And so sometimes what we're wanting is retribution, maybe. But we're going to say that what we're really looking for with accountability, maybe you think that accountability is when you set a standard for somebody and you try to hold them to that standard. But I think that too is a false definition. I think what we really want to look and redefine the word accountability, we want to say it's when other people that are in our life set a standard for themselves and aspire to reach their highest standard around us. So rather for me than to hold somebody accountable to the standard I set, hopefully I can become a person that would be able to inspire you to hold the standard that you set for yourself. And I think that's more of a better definition of what accountability is. It's when somebody else sets a standard for themselves, and because of the person you are, they want to attain that standard around you. And this is the mountaintop. So these three words I'm going to define, and I'm going to say, I think this is what we're trying to reach. And I hope that you see as a family, it's what you're trying to reach. So the first thing is connection is the calmest parts of me and the best parts of me. See and meet the best and calmest parts of you. And then we move to accountability is where you set a standard. Each person in the family sets a standard for themselves. And because of the people the family are to each other, they try to attain that standard for each other because they so want to impress each other because of the way that other person is. And now going on to the word transformation. So why is it important for you as a family to transform? Well, then just ask yourself the question if this is what you've been up to. Has what you've been up to in your connection as a family been the calmest part of you meeting the calmest part of them? Have you been looking at the best parts of each other, or have you been looking at the worst? And so with transformation, what it allows for us, if we begin to work on ourselves, and by working on ourselves, I think that there's really only one motivation in working on myself. It's to get me to a place where I can be calm, get me to a place where I can be secure in who I am, so that I can look at other people and I can look at the best parts of them, not being so insecure about who I am that I have to look at the worst parts. So if you see the importance of transformation is, I got to get back to a place where I can see the best parts of my family, no longer shining on the worst parts. And I think one of the things that happens is, naturally for all families, is that we begin this process, this exploitive process. And believe me, I get to sit in the middle of this, and it's this exploitation of, aha, I got you. I see what you've done wrong in life. And because what you've done wrong, what I'm going to do with that, everything that you've done wrong as my family member, what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to exploit it. I'm going to put my finger in there, and I'm going to make it big, and I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to shine a light on everything that you've done wrong. And I'm going to make sure that you understand in the purposes of what? In the purposes, so if I behave poorly, F you, because I know what you did. And it's this exploitive mechanism, this thing that we've done, and this reverse transformation, this getting ourselves to a point of, man, I can't even see the good in people anymore. I can't see the good in my family. A lot of people talk about their family members and they say, this person used to be. They used to be a good person. Now I don't know. And that's sad because they still are a good person. They still are a great person. It's just that you can no longer see that person. You only get to see that you only want to look at these negatives, or maybe not just want to, but seem kind of forced to. You got to make sure that you're looking at these negatives because we feel that if we can talk about these negatives, that's somehow the way that they'll change. That if we could point out negative behavior in other people, that somehow that's how to change a person. Somehow, if I can tell you you're not meeting my standards, somehow that accountability, that's our version of accountability. You're not meeting the standards I set for you. What qualifies us to make those standards? What is it? So if you take these three words and swim them around and kind of meet with each other, they all work together. I'd like to hold my family member accountable. Okay, what does that mean? Well, I'd like for them to aspire to be better around me. Okay, but I can't do that right now. And I'd like to connect with my family, and I'd like to see the good in them and shine a light on them and make that bigger rather than exploiting the whole of how bad they've behaved. And I can't do it right now because really I'm tight and I'm insecure and I'm pissed off and I'm resentful. You know, I used to think that it was one of the parts of me that I thought was real cool was the cynic in me. I thought being a cynic was real cool. I also thought being the judge was real cool. I thought that was one of the best parts of me, that I was able to judge if you were right or wrong. I was able to judge if you were, you know, a good person or bad person. And I really expected that was going to work, you know. And the other thing I thought was, man, the critic in me. I'm such a good critic. I'm so good at critiquing other people's behavior. Just watch. And you can learn. I'm a master. I can critique and I can judge and I can criticize and I can show cynicism and I can say you're never going to make it. And that was the worst parts of me. And that it still is to this day. When I am actually critiquing somebody else, it's the worst part of me. When I'm judging other people's behavior, it's the worst part of me. And when I'm actually feeling like, you know, they need to live up to my standard, that's the worst part of me. And me being a cynic and saying that person will never make it, and that person's no good, and deciding who that person is for myself, worst parts of me. That's not how you connect. So getting to a place where we understand as a family what a connection really means. It means maybe it ain't even talking. And maybe can we just look at each other again? You know how hard that pull is as a family member when you speak to someone in treatment, or you speak to these guys. That pull of wanting to discuss the negative behavior that they've done. That pull of wanting the retribution, waiting for I just want the person to call me and tell me everything that they've done wrong and admit to it and own up to it. And it's like, wow. Some mom described it the other night to me. She said she was wanting that. She said she can't wait for her son to just admit what he's doing wrong and state how wrong he is and take responsibility for it. And then a little while later she wrote that and I didn't respond. And then a little while later she goes, and I'm not shitting in one hand and wishing in the other and seeing what fills up first. And I said, well, you kind of are. And you kind of are. Hoping for that retribution, hoping for that level of accountability. What we should be focused on is our own transformation. We should be realizing and hopefully being honest when we can say to ourselves, man, I can't look at the good in my loved one. I'm too scared of the bad. I got to focus on that, because if I don't focus on that and get that solved, they're never going to make it. And what does that mean about us if they never make it? And it was a big revelation to realize for me that when I talked to people about their bad behavior, it didn't help. It just didn't help. People kind of always know what bad behavior is, and they don't need me to explain it to them, and it helps nothing. So, you know, I think these three words really work together. What you want. Well, let's redefine accountability. Let's talk about accountability being, man, I wish I could transform to the type of person that people wanted to behave good around me, that people would want to show the good side of themselves to me. They want to come and tell me they got the new job. They want to come and tell me that they got, you know, they've made all their debt go away. Their credit is up. They want to come tell me these good things about themselves. They want to show me kindness. They want to show me compassion. They want to show me that they're not resentful, that they're not thieves, that they're not lying. They want to show me that they're truthful. I'm not saying it's me. I'm just saying that's just what I aspire to want. That's what transformation to me means. It means that we can invoke that in someone else trying to live a better life just by who we are. Now that's what I believe families should be up to in this time. Getting to a place where you go, and then seeing that maybe your bad behavior is being exploited. Maybe you're exploiting each other's. Maybe somebody thinks it's a good idea that I can use drugs and go ruin my life because you behaved poorly as a parent. Now that's a little insane, but that's kind of what's going on. Because you've behaved poorly as a parent and I got you, I get to now, I got carte blanche. I can go do whatever I want in this world. Thank God you did that bad behavior, because it gave me a good excuse when I do bad behavior to try to look good. That seems to be going on a little bit. So getting to the place, and then just imagine if we connected in this way. Imagine going to a Thanksgiving dinner and go, man, I want to look at the best parts of my family today. And this isn't fraudulent. This is, if it's something that you have to come up with because you want to say something nice, or you want to come up with something that you could go, man, I heard what Art said. I'm going to say nice things from now on. You won't mean it. You won't mean it, because until the transformation happens, until you're working on yourself and your insecurities and get rid of those, you're not going to be able to refrain. You're going to say, I love you, but. See, how many of us are saying that as family members? I love my family member, but. Why is there a but? Why doesn't it just end there? I love my family member. I love my mom, but. I love my daughter, but. I love my sister, but. Why is that there? So getting to a place where I see the importance of getting rid of my own insecurities and fright and anger and resentment and criticism, so that I can get to a place of calmness, so I can see the best parts of somebody else. They can see the best parts of me. I can give them that in an authentic way, not a fake way. Not like, oh, you're so great, and making it up. Getting to a place where you can actually feel their goodness inside. I always said that there's only one way to know someone loves us. I've said it over and over and over, and I believe it's still to be true. The only way we know somebody loves us is the way they look at us. See, what happens is you're in a room with somebody and you catch them looking at you with admiration or peace or calmness, and they look at you in a certain way, and you go, oh man, this person loves me. I seen it. Now the question is, do I look at my loved one that way right now? Am I able to see that? Am I able to look at them with that kind of love? Or am I waiting? Oh, I'll love them, all right. I'll love them. As soon as they come up with all the reasons why they did this bullshit and put our family through all this shit, then I'll love them. Or as soon as when are you going to love your parents? How would it be that you want love for your parents, but you can't look at them with any love? You look at them with hatred and disappointment and resentment and say they're the reason that all your life has failed. It's them. Well, how are we going to connect? See, right now we're connecting through the worst parts of ourselves. We're connecting through our criticism of each other. We're connecting through our finger pointing. We're connecting through these terrible parts of ourselves. The critic, the judge, the Mr. I'm perfect and you aren't, and you need to be more like us. Or you're a bad parent, you should have been better. That's how we're connecting. So see how these three words meet together. Maybe you came here and you go, man, I would like my loved one to be accountable. Okay. Be the type of person that would inspire that. That's the only thing you can do. Now, I'm not saying you're not, but I'm saying that's the only thing you can do. That it just doesn't work. The other thing of, this is my standard I've set for you, and this is how you need to behave. That does not work, and we believe that. So coming to a place where I go, man, do I even have the calmness to sit with my loved one? Do I even have the calmness, or am I irritated and I do need to bring up my resentments and I need to tell them what they've done wrong and they need to apologize? And it's tough stuff. So when you mix up all these three, they work together so beautifully. I'd like my loved one to be accountable. That's great. I'd like to connect with my loved one. That's great. How do you present more of the best parts of you then throughout the day? How do you present more of the best parts of you in a conversation? How do you present calmness in their fluctuations? When they fluctuate, do you remain calm, loving? How do you feel love inside when you're dealing with them? Or do you feel anger and hate? What do you feel? So transformation says, I need to feel love first before I start dealing with them. Because how's that going to work? How am I going to deal with them and not have any love for them and have resentment and hate? And I want it to be accountable for the way I want it. Then you'll be all right and be loved. Well, you know, in some cases for me, that kind of worked for my family. They did that to me. My family held me accountable with their certain way. And they told me if I didn't live up to that standard, for me, it worked. For me, I was like, hell yeah, I get it. I got to get back. I got to get accountable. They're showing me the worst parts of me. I don't want to see those anymore. I'm going to actually change myself. That worked for me, but it doesn't work for everyone. It doesn't work for a lot of people. A lot of people need to feel the love first before they'll change. A lot of people need to feel safe before they'll change. It wasn't for me. I didn't need that, but my dad was tough. My dad told me, shape up or ship out. I luckily shaped up, but he was ready to make me ship out. So, you know, really just seeing how this all works together and why the importance of a family member on their own to get rid of the anger around their heart, the resentment around their heart, the critic in them, the judge in them, and see each one of your loved ones on this path. And see that maybe as you're changing, the mothers that are on here that went through this process, to see that inspire rather than the nagging, rather than the, here we go again with these circular conversations. And I see these circular conversations. I end up engaging in them myself sometimes, where I start out, I say, I'm not going to do that. And then at the end, I bring up something from the past. I start forgetting what I'm even saying. I get in these conversations too. They're detrimental. I get in them all the time. I got in one yesterday. Totally detrimental. But it's because I didn't feel good enough inside at that moment. You know, and this connection thing, just watch how necessary transformation is just by how you treat a loved one compared to when you're rested and tired. Just watch. Just watch how you treat each other. Just from being, last night I was exhausted, whining, complaining, angry, wanted to punish people, just go to bed. Wake up, all of a sudden I'm transformed. I'm now nice and kind and back to at least some kind of stability. But this is it. Our fluctuations up and down, dealing with the other person's fluctuations up and down, our past showing up and being exploited, and us not clearing that up, people exploiting our past, people exploiting each other. So maybe we haven't been accountable. Maybe there isn't any transformation. And maybe because of that, we've been exploiting all the bad behaviors and we've been connecting through our negativity. And what happens when the critic in us meets someone else? What happens when the critic in us meets someone else is the defensive person comes out. The justifications come out. The defenses go up, shut down. You know you've all dealt with this. So what does the best part of me meeting with the best part of someone else look like? It might not look like anything but tears. It might look like my eyes looking at your eyes and we both crying. That's the best parts of us. Two people crying together are the best parts of human beings. That's the best part. Two people saying, I don't know, do you know? And the other person says, I don't know either. But I do know I love you. That's the best part. Two people saying, I don't know together. Not one person saying, I know better. I know better. That's not the best parts of us. The best part is when we can sit with each other and see the love again and just stare at each other. Say, man, you're beautiful today. It's amazing what you're doing. You're great. So I hope that is a reminder of why it's important that you join as a family, why it's important that you come on, why it's important that you see how insecurities, the insecurities, the fear has allowed us to show each other the worst parts of ourselves. I know if you're a dad and you're getting angry at your son and getting mean at your son, that's just fear. I know it's just fear. That's your fear. So as a father deals with his fear, that's angry. More calm. It's not about me, son. It's about you. Same thing with mothers. Fear. The fear, the guilt, the everything coming on. That's the worst parts of us. We have to rid ourselves of those so that we're the better part of ourselves, so we can deal with this stuff. I think these three words work together so perfectly. I think if I transform and I keep transforming, maybe I can reach the mountaintop. Maybe I can look at people no matter what situation they're in and I can see the best of them. It has happened for me in some sense. I don't see the worst in people. I know that now. I can actually just, I don't know if I block it out or ignore it, but I just don't see it anymore. I just see good. I see it in everybody, and some people think I'm naive, but I think that that's a direct result of losing some of my insecurities, a direct result of dealing with my own fear. And I think, and I hope, because of just the results I get, the text that people send me, the people wanting to send me texts and tell me about the best parts of them, I think also my transformation has led to that. If they don't save it for someone else and go tell someone else how good they've done, they want to actually come to me and they want to show me that side. People don't show me the stealing, dishonest side anymore. You know what's incredible about this place down here? We might have the only drug addiction treatment house in America that doesn't need somebody walking around at night watching these kids. At all. Why? Because they're showing us the best parts of them, not the worst. But now let's say we decided to show them our fears and our insecurities. And so we made some rules and we made them real strict. And we said, no sneaking out to the store at night, and no going to get dope, and no lying or you're out of here. What do you think they'd get up to? I think they'd really start showing us how they're going to get out of here and get some dope. Because I've been in treatment center after treatment center. I never seen nothing like this. I've never seen a group of people here in treatment less than 30 days sober that we could just, me, Max, and Angie are here, but we could just leave. And they wouldn't go get dope. Now, to us, that's incredible. And I hope it's the result of our transformation and the transformation of them and them being here and then wanting to show us the best sides of themselves. I hope that's it. I'll latch on to that because that will keep driving me to lead this way. That if I lead with positivity, if I lead without pointing out the negative, if I lead trying to show the best secure parts of the most confident parts of me, that they will show me that too. Other people will show it too. Now this again is the mountaintop. And to me, that's what we're trying to attain. We're trying to all, as family members, walk up this mountain and get to this place where we can once again laugh with each other, cry with each other, and show each other the best parts of ourselves and aspire. A parent aspiring to show his kids their change, inspiring to show your kid again, maybe not that you're their parent, maybe your achievements, maybe the things that you're doing in life that are good. Maybe get off the kid. Just go, hey, I'm wanting to show you this is what we're up to. Your mom and I are working on our relationship. We're going away for 2 weeks. We're going to go be together and learn how to love each other again. Get it? Something like that. And then they show you what they're working on. It's beautiful. And that's the mountaintop. I don't think it's that attainable. It's very difficult because from day to day, we get to the worst parts of ourselves. But the pit, the worst part, is when we've gotten to a place where we're just cynics with each other. We're just hypercritical. We're just sensitive. We're defensive. And we exploit each other's bad behavior and discuss it ad nauseum. Just continuous discussing each other's bad behavior. You did this, but you did this, and you did this, but you done this. What is this? Can we give it up and move on? Give it up. Can I stop holding my parents to the standard that I've set? Even though I'm not a parent, I've set a standard, imaginary one, in my head that parents should be like. But you're not a parent. Yeah, but I got a standard of how my parents should have did it. But you're not a parent. You don't know. You don't know what it's like to have fear and insecurity about your own kid, this being that you've brought into existence, and now all the fear of trying to keep it alive for 12 years, 13 years, and then this 14-year-old grows up one day and said, you suck. And you've just spent 14 years trying to keep it alive and feed it and bathe it, and now they tell you you suck. And now they tell you you shouldn't have talked to mom that way. How are you going to talk to your girlfriend? Well, I don't have a girlfriend. I get it, I know. It's tough. It's tough having a wife. It's tough being faithful. It's tough being honest. It's like kind of like tough, like not using drugs is tough. Like not actually going out and robbing and stealing people. It's tough. But the same people robbing and stealing and using drugs are setting standards for people. Maybe that's not very good. I know I rob and steal and use drugs, but that's because you don't hold up on the standard that I've set for you. Whoa. Very exploitive, very defensive, very nasty things that we've been up to. So I hope you see what this is about. I hope you see that it's your own transformation. I hope that it's not, let me get my kid down there so they get fixed. Because they need to get fixed. Well, why can we fix them? Why can't a family fix each other? Should be able to be in there and fix each other. Well, this is why. This is why it's tough. Because we've gotten to ourselves a place of fear, anxiety, a place of anger, resentment, and we can't get out. And we try to get out, but we can't. So we need this. We need something that will go, wait, let me get my head on straight here. Let me see my own anger, my own fear, my own anxiety. You know, they're down here, we're in this laboratory together, working on things, and they're dealing with fear, anxiety, resentment. A lot of parents come and they go, my kid's got anxiety issues and anger issues. Whoa. But we don't, you don't, as a family, you don't have anxiety and fear? I think you do. I think we all do. So shouldn't we all be working on it? Shouldn't we all be, rather than getting together and kind of checking on each other and seeing if the other person has got there yet, and by that I mean, I'm going to give them a call and see if they're ready to admit their wrongness. Nope, checked in again. All right. They still ain't fixed. They ain't told me they're wrong yet. I'm waiting. Then they call their parents. Nope, haven't done it, Art. They haven't told me they're wrong yet. Maybe one day. Then I'll get sober. So I just, I love these 3 words. And I think that they're the 3 words that are kind of the foundation of what we're doing here. Trying to hold people, we're trying to create a standard amongst each other that we all attain for each other, that we aspire. Everyone wants to come on here and show that they've, a community that aspires to be good for each other. And I think we want to connect with our loved ones and show them the best parts of ourselves and find again the best parts of them, because they're still there. They're still there. The funniness, the light, the energy, what we see, the softness, the tears, are all there. And then this thing of individual transformation. Wow, you mean this addiction showed up for me? Yeah, it showed up for you. It showed up for you, just like it showed up for them. You might not take drugs, but addiction has shown up for you, or you wouldn't be here. Now, for me, everything that shows up for me is either a lesson or a blessing in life. And if I don't take it as a blessing, it usually turns out to be I get to learn that lesson and keep learning it. But as soon as I look at this lesson that we're learning from this as a blessing, it'll no longer be a lesson. So, anyways, that's what I have for tonight. I hope it puts you in a different place, maybe a place of understanding of where the pathway goes, place of understanding of, accountability. Maybe that isn't right. Maybe the definition that we've had as accountability of setting a standard that I set that you need to achieve is a little arrogant. And maybe connection, just thinking, well, we just hang around with our resentments at Thanksgiving and get drunk together. Or we just hang around with each other. We just kind of be around each other and we call that connection. We just like suffer through another birthday party and we call that connection. Maybe that's a bad definition. So remember, the best parts of me, the calmest parts of me, seeing and connecting with the best and calmest parts of you. Better definition. And transformation just simply means I want to be the type of person that can do that. Both those things. I want to be the type of person that people don't exploit the bad behavior and actually aspire to behave good. And want to show me their best side. And if I keep working on myself, maybe I'll get there. Doing it, maybe I can get there. I think that's the lesson this has all taught me. It's just taught me that I was never there to be anyone's critic, tell them they're wrong, point out their bad behavior. I was never there for that. I was here to learn how to not do that. That's been the whole pathway. How to learn how to not point out bad behavior and criticize, critique, and cynicism. Say they're not going to make it. Why aren't they going to make it? Because they're not doing it my way. Wow. Arrogance. This getting to this kind of humor that we have with each other that's not very funny. Pointing out bad behavior through that. Anyways, we'll open it up.
So good. So, you know the drill. If you're new, you don't. So let me show you. So anybody who has comments, questions, everything's welcome. You can just use the raise your hand feature on your device. I just did that. If you can't figure out how to do that on your device, you can unmute yourself. You can say hello in the chat and let us know you have something to say. And as long as you turn your camera on, then I'll be able to put you on spotlight so we can see you. And we welcome it all. And if there's anybody out there that's new, we would love to say hi and meet you. And if anybody is really going through it or anything and needs a coaching moment, this is your opportunity to do that as well. So, Sherry, let's go to her first. Hey, Sherry. Let's get you unmuted.
Hello. So I really appreciate this. It seems like it's kind of it's like you have the accountability, the transformation, and the calm. The notes that I'm writing down here, it seems like the calm, you need to have honesty, that safety, truth, and, being able to speak truth, and then a combination of respect. What's the formula that you have that kind of gives you that calm? Is it internal only? Because there's stuff outside that you may not be, but how do you get to your calm?
Well, it's like I said, it's dealing with the things that make you not calm is what it is. It's actually looking and going, man, I feel my body around this person and it's tight and I can feel the anger inside and I can feel my resentments, and it's mindfulness. And that's what we're talking a lot about down here, is mindfulness. It's able to be mindful of my condition and the state I'm in before, in the whole interaction, before the interaction, to go through this process of learning what my body's up to. Because see, it's not the mind that does this, it's the body. The body gets tight, the body gets in resistance. When the body gets tight and the body gets in resistance, the worst parts of us come out. It's that simple. When the body's relaxed, when the body's open, we can love. So the body tightens first and then the mind blames. And the mind says, you're doing this to me. You're causing this resistance in me and you need to stop. You need to change because, see, it's not that they need to change. It's that you need this practice to get rid of the resistance.
Well, most of it's gonna get there.
We've lost our mic. Can you hear me, Sherry?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Okay. So that's the transformational process. It's not in the mind. We don't transform our minds. Our minds are in response to our body and they're protecting us. So when we're insecure, we get tight. When we get angry, we get tight. When we get angry, we get in fight and flight, right? So all these things happen to our body and we don't even realize it's happening to our body, but we're in the mind and we're blaming, and then we blame them for how we feel. So to get to this place of calmness, we have to stop blaming people for how we feel. If you're tight, that's because you're insecure. If you're upset right now, yeah, I like when people will say to me, you're upsetting me right now, or I can't upset you. I know, that's right. You can't upset me. My insecurities can upset me, but I've dealt with a lot of those, so I'm way tougher to get upset. I've dealt with a lot of, you can say whatever, that's been said before. I've dealt with it. I've felt it hit my body. I already heard that. Art, you're about this or you're about that. Yeah, I heard that 12 years ago. I worked it through. It's not true, so I'm fine. So getting to the place where we work on our body with mindfulness, we look at it and we sit in these difficult conversations and we learn how to be calm in them by watching our blood pressure. The worst parts of you happen when your blood pressure is high. The best parts of you show up when your blood pressure is consistent and calm. It's all blood pressure work, really. I don't deal with my loved ones with high blood pressure because I want to yell and scream and fight and defend. So working on our bodies and getting rid of the resistance that's inside of us. It's not my mind that's changed, it's my body. And I don't lift weights. I'm not talking about lifting weights.
No, and I think the thing that is interesting for me with this whole talk is that even with a young person who's healthy and and doing well, it's there's still work to be done, right? So it's like this is just this not ending. So it's like we've been in a place. I think my son's been in a place of sober for quite some time, but it's still the work to be done, right? And we're still kind of like learning how to do this and how to kind of like recognize the things that are trigger points for us. And like, I recognized the thing this morning that irritated me this morning. And I texted somebody, I was like, hey, this is really hitting me today. I'm sure it's probably hitting you too. And then you have that moment of connection and letting it go and getting calm. But I think as parents, it's not just the work that our people we love are doing. This is the work that we all have to do.
Here's a question for all parents, maybe. Let's say a kid is a drug addict and they become 25 or 26, fine, or 18 or whatever. But the question I have for you, Sherry, is at what age does the mom window close? And by that I mean, at what age do I need to stop talking to them and let them have their life? Do I need to stop telling them to go pay that, pick up that underwear, do that, do this? At what age do I stop mothering? When does that close? And I think that answer to that question would be the same time that a man would develop.
Yeah.
Is this the mothering would stop? I mean, if there's chance, it might not. It might not. But if there's a chance, that window would close, mom window closes,
Yeah.
and man might come about. So, you know, maybe, but they might still then you might just gotta go break up with them.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like there's, you know, you're always going to love them. You may not love the behaviors, or you may not love the stuff they do sometimes, but then, you know, but it is really kind of like changing from, you know, like I am guiding and molding this person to advisory, you know, and so like right now I can give my son advice on something and go, hey, you might want to think about it this way, but then I back off and let him kind of like, he can, you know, give him just a little bit of input and then back off and let him kind of figure it out, because he's going to have to figure it out, I guess. So I don't know. I'm no expert at this, and I only have one, so I don't know.
Well, maybe you need to I'll send a few over.
Awesome.
I'll send a few.
I'll take puppies. I'll take payment in puppies. How about that?
I don't know. I'm finding the puppies harder than the pumpkin. These guys are all pretty easy, man. They actually all do their dishes. They clean the room. They sweep the floor. The puppies are just a mess. They don't do anything. You know? I mean, they're useless. I tried to get the puppies to do the dishes today. Nothing. You know what I mean? They just lay there or tear shit up. Yeah. Yeah. They eat everything. That's why we're having mite problems here, is because the dogs ate all the mite. You know, we got the pool noodles. We can't have them. You can't have pool noodles. They eat the whole thing, and it's all over the yard. Can't have slippers. You know, do slippers. They take all our slippers. Yeah. They also have some sort of panty fetish. They always come out with panties in their mouth for some reason. Little perverts. I don't know. They're a nightmare. They don't listen. I try to talk to them. I try to do group with them. They don't do group.
I grew up with puppies around the house. You learn how to pick up all your stuff, especially your underwear, very fast. You learn that's when you learn how to pick things up and put it away. So
yeah. All right, who's next?
We got some first timers out there. Hey, Bartonettis, good to see you guys.
Where's the dog?
You want to say hi? If you unmute, let's unmute. Yeah, we can say hi.
I guarantee it.
Julie and Glenn.
Hi.
Hi,
I like your white pants art.
Oh yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Your
I'm going out
boxer.
tonight, so.
I saw your boxer. Where'd he
He's
go?
cute. Yeah. I don't know where he went. Maybe to see Papa.
Yeah.
I love your pants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Julie.
He's
We
doing
have a 89-year-old toddler as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
Come here.
He's Bailey's doing really well. He's
Good.
funny. He's funny. I didn't know he was funny. But he's funny.
He's pretty funny.
He's pretty funny.
He is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Good to have you guys.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad he's there.
Yeah, us too.
Just for the Kent House, for everybody in the audience there, the guys at the Kent House will like this especially. Bailey gave us one of the most profound quotes last night in drug addiction history. It was, you know, it was really good. It was deep. And Bailey's quote last night was, "If you do meth, you start looking like a person that does meth." See that? That's just perfect. There's no more. There's no fat to that statement. There's nothing you need to peel off. It's just beautiful. It's like, yeah.
That's the worst.
Deepest level of truth. You know?
Like a twat.
Yeah.
Nothing worse.
All right. Somebody's got some questions.
All right, guys, come on, let's go. Jessica,
Someone's got some
let's
comments.
get-
All right, here we go, Jessica.
Let's get you
My favorite.
updated. Oh, there you go.
Hi. So I really appreciated the talk today. I thought you had a lot of really great things to say. And one of the things you said, I think towards the end, after I think someone had commented, is that we have to stop blaming people for how we feel. And you talked, throughout the discussion about, attending to yourself and your own fears and anxieties so that when you're talking with people, you're not necessarily reacting, like you're calm.
Mhm.
And so I totally see how you can like develop that practice and even prepare for conversations in a way where you're kind of try to keep, put yourself in a good frame of mind and things like that. But what are some strategies or things that you recommend when someone may, in the middle of a conversation or a conversation takes a sharp turn and suddenly you're making each other angry or you're making each other emotional, and it's like in the moment you have to figure out how to ramp down from an emotion?
So that's a beautiful thing because, but the best part, the thing about it is understanding failure and then what you do with that failure. So the way I started this process for myself was I would find difficult people as my practice. Difficult people were my practice. Nobody else could ramp and evoke these types of things in me. So why does this particular person evoke and ramp up into me, and why do I feel this way around this person? So that now is a practice because I can gain insight to why I feel that way. So now I go into a conversation, and I've said this 100 times, thousands of times. When we go into these conversations, what we're doing is we're actually like, how when you drive on a side road, you don't need to pay attention that much. But if you've ever drove over Snoqualmie Pass, it takes everything you got. Your hands are on the wheel. The sweat is under your thing, and you're driving in the snow. And that's how observant you need to be of your body in these conversations. You need to, because when that conversation took a turn, your body took a turn. Your blood pressure took a turn. You weren't able to stabilize it, so you went with that turn. That's okay. But the practice is watching your blood pressure through the conversations and going, oh, there it goes. That one hit me. Ooh, that was deep. That cut. Well, okay, now, maybe you fail. And you start blaming each other, and you start getting angry, and you start fighting. Now, the important part about that is, do you go back to your corner and blame them still? Or do you go back to your corner and go, wow, I was insecure there. Wow, that was a tough one. Wow, that really made me be upset. Wow, that was really, really tough. And I need to practice more. That's the question. So it's all engagement and then break, engagement, break. But in the meantime, when I go back to these conversations, okay, here we go. I'm going to be better this time. I'm going to watch my blood pressure closer. I'm going to be in it, It's beautiful. And you need people to practice this, and you need difficult people to practice this. If everyone around you tells you how great you are, you won't ever get upset. Trust me, promise. You won't ever get upset. It's not going to upset anyway. Everyone tells me I'm great. Great day. But it's not. The great day is when I face criticism with calmness. That's a great day. Great day is when I have somebody else fluctuate and get upset around me and I stay calm. Have somebody else yell at me and I stay calm. That's a great day. That's the practice.
Great question, Jessica. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have to add, great questions. It's so helpful for everybody else out there too. So if you're out there and you have a question, please, no comments are silly. It's going to be helpful to other people. So who's next? Trying to read that message. Yeah.
See, some people might be feeling a certain way right now. And because their body's feeling that way, they're blaming somebody else for how they feel. That could be happening currently as we speak.
Oh, are they not hearing us? Why is Kent?
You guys not hear us?
All of a sudden they can't hear us. Nobody can hear?
Renee, can you hear us? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you fine. This is Chris. Yeah,
Okay.
you're good.
Why can't we?
Why are you waving, Kyle?
He's just petting his dog.
Oh, I thought everybody was doing this. Oh, yeah.
Someone asked recommended reading.
I don't understand.
Okay, unmute Kyle
Okay.
and see.
We're trying to unmute you guys. All right. Well, in the meantime, who else out there? Dershus, did you have something?
No, okay. Cam has a question. It just took them forever to.
We've never had to unmute it on the dang
All right.
laptop before.
Cam has a question.
So I just really liked what Jessica had to say, and when you're in, like, for instance, we always talk about when your shit gets hit, you know what I mean, and how fast you're able to go from your shit getting hit back to reality again, and it just made total sense, like the fact that we're in those positions and we're talking and we're going down that road, and you don't even like realize a lot of the times that your shit gets hit, and then the conversation flares up. And Art, you told me this a long time ago, that it was just like you have to be able to slow down the brain enough to even catch those times, you know what I mean, and slow down enough to just realize that it's even happening. And that's what you're talking about, like you said, is like at the top of the mountain. And so, like, there's so much work before you can catch that it might take like 2 or 3 conversations before you're able to get to where you're wanting to be with somebody, you know what I mean?
You remember, kind of the work that you did the first 90 days in the program. And Cam was starting to at least develop an understanding that in this first 90 days when he was with me, he developed an understanding that this is where he got. And I remember this is where Cam got. Maybe this is where some of you got, but it's a very impressive place to get. Because I don't think a lot of people, you might not, but what people have done as a practice and practicing for this might not be something you do, might not be something you really get into. You won't find it necessary. You'll forget to do it. See, for me, it was a daily practice, because I had 35 drug addicts that were in a house, and I had to go there every day. And I didn't want to yell and throw shit and piss people off and be angry, but I was. So I was burning up, and it was mandatory for me to start figuring out what was going on inside me. I could no longer do it. But you might only have one difficult person in your life or 2. And so you might go to work and nobody questions you, and everybody tells you how great you are, and you never get upset. And you go, well, I don't need to transform. Well, one, you're probably not doing enough to get yourself around difficult people, because you should, and 2, you do, because you're just not. If it's one person you can't get along with, that's probably because you're blaming. But Cam got to a place at least where his shit would get hit. He would miss it all the time. It would get hit, and he would miss it, and he'd get angry, and he'd yell at me, and I'd get angry, and we'd go at each other sometimes. But then the thing about it was, Cam would go off. And I don't know if he kept this up, and it might be leading to why he's had some struggles recently, but Cam would go off in his own corner, and he would come back responsible. He would come back and go, I get why I got upset right there. It's not you. It's, the insecurities here, and that upset me. And he would do that investigation. So this is the place where you can get to. If you get upset, and you're big enough to do an investigation to why you got upset, that's a big step to get to a place where because most people, this is the way it goes. I'm upset. Now I go and I live in resentment, and I consider that the other person needs to change, and I consider every way they need to change, and I consider how they should have talked to me, and how they didn't talk to me, and how they need to talk to me next time. And I got a brilliant idea. I'm going to go back right now, and I'm going to text this person, or I'm going to tell them how they need to change. That's everybody's idea. That's what they come up with. And then the other person goes, F you, and then you're back right there. And that's the brilliance that we've kind of learned. And it's not. But to be a person who gets in an altercation and to not leave and say that person screwed up, but actually what screwed up is that I got upset. I shouldn't just be getting upset. What am I trying to survive here? The guy told me he wants his pen back. The guy told me that I didn't do good on the report. The guy told me that I'm not doing a good enough job. Somebody's boss says, you're not doing a good enough job. They go home and go, he's nuts. That guy's fine. How dare he say I'm not good enough job? Look at what I've done. I did this, I did this. I do a great job. Well, your boss just said that you did a bad job. Why is that hard to take? Why are you upset? Why can't you go home and look at yourself? Why can't you go, okay, maybe I did. It's actually my boss who judges the way I do my job who told me I didn't do a good job. But he shouldn't be, but he's wrong. So just getting to the place of dignity. Huh?
Like, you said it right there too. You said like, you think that I may have stopped working that practice, and that is a super good point, because as you start to get more time under your belt, you know what I mean? And I had before I just relapsed, I had like 19 months under my belt, you know what I mean? With like one slip up. And so you almost forget these things. You almost forget this material that we've learned, and you almost like push it to the side. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't really need that stuff anymore because I'm not getting in these altercations anymore. But then the other point is, are you actually getting on the court with people? You know what I mean? Are you actually like doing the work that you were doing to begin with when you first started this whole?
Yeah.
And so,
or do you go back to, that guy's an asshole, I'll just put up with him.
Right.
This person's an asshole, I'll just put up with him. And then you begin to put up with assholes, and everyone's an asshole, and people start to become more and more of that, and more of your attitude shifts towards forget everyone, till eventually you go, fuck, screw everyone. They suck. And we figured out a way everyone sucks, and now this is a convenient way to get me along with some drugs. And that's a brilliant process that our minds have done. Most people, the detriment for not transforming might be the loss of family members or anything, but for an addict, the detriment of not transforming means I'm going to head back to using drugs and alcohol. So the stakes are higher for us because we could die. We could all just get resentful one day and smoke a little fentanyl and be dead. So that's a lot different than I just don't talk to my brother-in-law, or I just don't talk to my wife, and I stay away from birthday parties with my family. But I think long-term, the detriment's the same. Hardened, angry, resentful. It's the same.
I love the talk, though, Art. It's great.
Thank you.
All right, who's next? Got lots of families out there we'd love to hear from.
And we can call on people.
Comments, questions. We got the Zimmermans in the house. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey. Hi. What are you guys thinking?
Well, I think it was good. I mean, obviously we have 4 kids, and we run 2 businesses, so we lose our temper usually because usually because of outside stuff. You know, it's not usually the thing that sets it off. It's 8 other things, or it triggers you, I think Kate and I got into it Saturday before I left over something completely stupid. And it's never about the thing, it's about other stuff, usually, that triggers me personally. So, I don't know.
I often think about, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I think over the last 2 years with all the stuff we've been through with Kate, I think the positive is that, we've learned to recognize some of that and not be so reactionary.
Okay. I think I think a good word for a good way that I would describe transformation is what things would upset you if you just found out that you won $10 million. Yeah, you just got the check. Somebody said, and then like maybe Kate's popping tags off the shed, and you just found out you won $10 million. Like, you go, forget about it. I mean, literally, you could get hit. Your car could get hit. And you go, oh, are you okay? You know, somebody could come steal from you. You'd go, oh, that's fine. I didn't mean it. You need it more than me. You know, that would be an instant transformation. And that's the feeling maybe we could aspire to be, like we did just win $10 million and everything is going to be okay. And, you know, if we can live that way and get to a place of calmness like that, because $10 million would calm a lot of our insecurities and a lot of our fears, and you'd get to a place where you could just, things would water off your back. So I often think of it like that. I remember, and the reason I used to think about it like that was because I used to play poker at the Muckleshoot Casino, and I had a sober house that was down at the bottom of the house. And when I would have a winning night, and I was driving by the sober house, I couldn't wait to stop and tell everybody how great they were doing. I had just won the tournament. I am going to go down there and, you know, champion for everybody, tell them how great they are. But when I had a losing night, I would like to drive by that house and yell at everyone. And I only thought about the bullshit that they've been up to. And so now, and it was a 20-minute window. Well, the house happened to be 7 minutes away. But if I stayed there after the loss at Muckleshoot for 20 minutes and let it settle and let it go away, I didn't feel the same way. I didn't feel like going there and yelling. So it's like a 20-minute window where I learned, oh man, there's other shit going on that I need to deal with. There's my own fears and insecurities about losing money. And then I'm going to go dump those on other people and blame them for how I'm currently feeling. And I used to do that. That's just what I did. I learned. But when I won, boy, then I wanted to spread the joy. Now I hope I win or lose, you don't know the difference. I hope, you know. Oh, it's nice to see.
Question over here.
There was some feedback there, so I muted you, Alex, because there was feedback, but let me know if you have something to say.
Okay.
I couldn't tell what Kyle said.
It was a question, but not anymore, so we're good.
Okay.
All right, who's next?
We got time for one more.
Don't start. You too.
Oh, his dogs. The puppies are going crazy too. Yeah. Heads up, next week, there's not going to be group next week. We're taking a break next week. And then when we come back the following week, we're going to have some new tech and video. We're going to work on some improvements here with the sound and the video. We've got Ian and Travis that are going to work together to bring some new things, a couple extra cameras, so we can get, you know, a new look going. So that's 2 weeks from today.
All right, Kyle, what was it?
I was going to say, you know, you talk about this thing we do, you know, I love my mom, or I love my wife, but, well, in my recovery, you know, I've learned just, you know, you just cut out the back part, you know, so now I just say, I love butts.
Me too.
Yeah. Kyle Munkers, ladies and gentlemen. The fact that he looks up jokes on the internet that are corny and tells them, you know, that's okay. We have to deal with that. Kyle looks up jokes on the internet. They're corny. We know he's looking them up. It's fine. But when he starts making them up on his own, it really goes down.
Wait a second. This one's quick. Okay, so I have a question for you, Art.
Yes.
Do you prof? Because I ibuprofen,
Oh man, we should cut it now.
Well, we're getting kind of, if anyone wants to share, now's an opportunity. If anybody wants to talk, because these guys down here, the dogs and the clients, I can feel their squirreliness building. They need to suck on the other end of a vape, I think, or
Cigarette.
something. They need a cigarette. I can feel it. So I'm gonna close.
Yeah, we're gonna see you moms, ladies, tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Look forward to it. No group next week.
So I hope that I just want to recap a little bit and get you guys to a point for mom's group and ready, and just see,
Sorry.
just kind of see how these three things are working together, and see how a one person's, guys, please, how one person's transformation in a family can transform everyone else. One person's. It's not necessary for all of it. It's necessary for one person to transform, which then could lead to other people aspiring to that transformation. And maybe other people will begin to raise their standard of who they are. If I decide I want to transform, maybe that raises the standard of the people around me. And maybe that's how I can hold them accountable, or that's how accountability exists. And so maybe that will lead to this connection that we can have again, that we can stop exploiting each other and start pointing out the better parts of each other, and doing it honestly, not making it up just for talk's sake, not just doing it just because Art said do this, or this person told me I should do positive affirmations, or any of that nonsense. Put up the positive affirmations all you want. If you don't believe it, it's just not true. You can do whatever you want with it. But you get to the place where you work on this thing called mindfulness. You work on your body to get into the point of calmness. If your body stays calm, your mind stays calm. If your body gets tight, your mind doesn't stay calm. Once your mind doesn't stay calm, you say and do things that you don't mean. You exploit other people's behavior. You defend yourself, justify, and rationalize. So I hope that gives a really working ground, or like something to do, something for everybody to kind of sink their teeth in. And hopefully this will be what everyone is doing this week or the next couple of weeks. Is I'm working on my own transformation right now. I do need to get to the place where I can be calm first. Before I start back in the war, I need to be able to be calm. So we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks, guys.
Good night, everybody.